I want you to check out
I
this
bet
guy
you
right
ain't
here.
know him.
This guy's telling the truth like you ain't never heard it. And I'm telling you, this is true. Coming at you live from my bed because I'm tired and had a bad day. Next clip.
I bet you ain't know in my last post, I'm trying to explain everybody with critical thinking is being infiltrated on a mass scale. Yo, they use this app like other apps to rule out the people with the talent and the gifts and the critical thinking skills to then present arguments against them when the truth doesn't need validation. We keep trying to tell these folks this that keep arguing about what we see is going on in reality, what we know is reality, right? But again, the people with no talent will be listened to. They get a voice, they get a platform. That's the reason why I brought up the spies, I brought up the comment farming, I brought up the following farming. Because now the people with no talent feel like they're up here with the critical thinkers. I bet you ain't know.
Hey, bro, I agree with this Don Kiwi guy.
Operation Mockingbird. During the early Cold War, the U.S. government, through the CIA, launched an alleged large-scale program called Operation Mockingbird. Its goal was to manipulate domestic American news media for propaganda purposes. According to author Deborah Davis, the operation recruited prominent American journalists into a propaganda network and even influenced various front groups. Operation Mockingbird wasn't limited to influencing domestic public opinion, it also aimed to shape views internationally. The Church Committee's report, issued in 1976 by a Senate Select Committee led by Senator Frank Church, confirmed earlier claims that the CIA had secret ties with private institutions, including the press. Although the report didn't name names, it mentioned finding 50 journalists with covert relationships with the CIA. In a 1977 Rolling Stone article titled "The CIA and the Media," reporter Carl Bernstein expanded on these findings. He claimed that over 400 U.S. press members secretly carried out assignments for the CIA. Among those mentioned were New York Times publisher Arthur Hayes Sulzberger, columnist Stuart Alsop, and staff from Time magazine. Bernstein noted that the overseas branches of major U.S. news agencies had long served as the eyes and ears of Operation Mockingbird, spreading CIA propaganda through domestic media. To this day, the government has neither confirmed nor denied the operation. Many cite operations like these as the reason for the modern distrust of traditional media. But luckily, today, we have alternative ways of finding news that are as objective as possible. Operation LAC. During the early 1950s, amid fears of biological warfare, the U.S. government decided to test the spread of chemical and biological agents on its own citizens. Operation LAC, Large Area Coverage, was carried out by the U.S. Army Chemical Corps in 1957 and 1958. The project involved dispersing tiny, fluorescent zinc-cadmium sulfide particles over large parts of the United States and Canada to study how far these particles could travel, simulating the spread of harmful agents. To conduct the tests, the U.S. Air Force loaned the Army a C-119 flying boxcar airplane. This aircraft was used to release massive quantities of the material into the atmosphere. Ground stations then tracked the fluorescent particles. In the initial test and subsequent ones, much of the material was carried by winds into Canada, with particles being detected up to 1,200 miles from their drop point. A typical flight along a 400-mile route would disperse about 5,000 pounds of zinc-cadmium sulfide. In fiscal year 1958 alone, approximately 100 hours of flight time were dedicated to Operation LAC, including 4 runs of varying lengths, one of which extended for 1,400 miles. In December 1957, a test from South Dakota to International Falls lost particles to a Canadian cold front, though some reached New York 1,200 miles away. In February 1958, another front at Dugway Proving Ground carried particles into the Gulf of Mexico. Subsequent tests from Toledo to Abilene and from Detroit to Springfield and Goodland showed aerial dispersal could reach both sides of the flight paths. Some anecdotal reports suggested that exposure to zinc-cadmium sulfide during Operation LAC may have caused health issues. However, a U.S. government study by the National Research Council stated, "After an exhaustive, independent review requested by Congress, we found no evidence that exposure to zinc-cadmium sulfide at those levels could cause people to become sick." Despite this, the use of ZNCDS remained controversial. One critic even accused the Army of literally using the country as an experimental laboratory. Additionally, the National Library of Medicine's ToxNet database shows that the EPA classified cadmium sulfide as a probable human carcinogen. The U.S. government has never apologized for these tests. COINTELPRO. COINTELPRO, short for the Counterintelligence Program, was a series of secret and illegal projects run by the FBI from 1956 to 1971. The goal was to monitor, infiltrate, discredit, and disrupt American political groups that the FBI believed were subversive. The FBI targeted a wide range of groups and individuals through COINTELPRO. These included feminist organizations, the Communist Party USA, anti-Vietnam War organizers, and civil rights and black power activists, such as Martin Luther King Jr., the Nation of Islam, and the Black Panther Party. The FBI also targeted independence movements, including Puerto Rican groups like the Young Lords and the Puerto Rican Socialist Party. Although the main focus was on groups associated with the New Left, even white supremacist organizations like the Ku Klux Klan and the National States Rights Party were not spared. FBI Director J. Edgar Hoover personally issued orders for COINTELPRO, instructing agents to expose, disrupt, misdirect, discredit, or otherwise neutralize these groups, especially their leaders. Additionally, Attorney General Robert F. Kennedy gave written approval for limited wiretapping of Martin Luther King Jr.'s phones on a trial basis for about a month. Hoover later extended that approval, effectively giving his agents free rein to search for evidence in any area of King's life they found relevant. The program remained secret until March 8, 1971, when the Citizens Commission to Investigate the FBI broke into an FBI field office in Media, Pennsylvania. They seized several dossiers and exposed the program by turning the material over to news agencies. The timing coincided with the fight of the century boxing match between Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier in March 1971, which provided cover for the activists' burglary. Muhammad Ali was a COINTELPRO target due to his involvement with the Nation of Islam and his participation in the anti-war movement. Many news outlets initially refused to publish the documents, except for the Washington Post, which broke the story. After checking that the material was reliable, the Post ran the documents on its front page, despite a request from the Attorney General not to do so. This led other news organizations to publish the documents as well. Within a year, Director J. Edgar Hoover announced that centralized COINTELPRO operations were over, and that future counterintelligence activities would be managed on a case-by-case basis. Operation Popeye. Operation Popeye was a secret U.S. Air Force program during the Vietnam War, running from 1967 to 1972. Its goal was to use cloud seeding to induce extra rainfall during the rainy season, from March to November, and extend the monsoon over parts of the Ho Chi Minh Trail by an additional 30 to 45 days. This trail, a network of roads and paths used by the Viet Cong and North Vietnamese Army to transport supplies between North and South Vietnam through Laos and Cambodia, was vital for enemy logistics. By increasing rainfall, Operation Popeye aimed to soften road surfaces, trigger landslides, and wash out river crossings, thereby disrupting the movement of military supply trucks and hindering enemy supply lines. The chemical weather modification program was conducted from Thailand over Cambodia, Laos, and Vietnam. It was allegedly sponsored by Secretary of State Henry Kissinger and the CIA, without the approval of then Secretary of Defense Melvin Laird under President Nixon. Laird had categorically denied to Congress that any such tactical weather modification program existed. Reporter Jack Anderson first published a story about Operation Popeye in March 1971. The name Operation Popeye entered public discourse through a brief mention in the Pentagon Papers, a top-secret Pentagon study of U.S. government decision-making related to the Vietnam War that was leaked by Daniel Ellsberg, a United States military analyst, to the New York Times, the Washington Post, and other newspapers. Project Minaret. Project Minaret was a domestic espionage operation run by the NSA. It intercepted electronic communications that mentioned specific U.S. citizens and then passed those messages on to other government agencies. The intercepted communications were shared with the FBI, CIA, Secret Service, Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs, and the Department of Defense. Starting in 1962, the NSA kept a watch list of Americans traveling to Cuba. Over time, the list expanded to include narcotics traffickers. From 1967 onward, President Lyndon B. Johnson added the names of anti-war activists, and President Richard Nixon further broadened the list to include civil rights leaders, journalists, and even 2 senators. Between 1967 and 1973, Project Minaret's watch lists targeted over 5,925 foreigners, 1,690 organizations, and 1,650 U.S. citizens, including these guys. In 1975, NSA Director Lou Allen testified before the Senate Intelligence Committee that the NSA had issued more than 3,900 reports on these watch-listed Americans. There was no judge overseeing the project, and it operated without legal permission to listen in. The NSA helped the FBI and CIA when they asked for international communications about certain people, but only if those agencies didn't involve the NSA further. Under this system, the FBI and CIA had to either give the reports back to the NSA or destroy them after 2 weeks, mark them as top secret, and keep them separate from other NSA records. A 1975 2027 Department of Justice review found that wiretap laws had been violated. The review argued that if intelligence agencies had too much discretionary power with too little accountability, it wasn't just a flaw within the agencies. It was a 35-year failure of oversight by presidents and Congress. One result of these investigations was the creation of the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, FISA, in 1978. FISA limited what the NSA could do by setting up a legal process for getting warrants and having judges review its actions. In addition, the U.S. Signal Intelligence Directive 18, first introduced in 1980 and updated in 1993, was established as an internal rule to protect the NSA and the entire intelligence community. Operation Mockingbird.
I think we've well been told a lot of these projects have been ouched now. They've been redacted, but let out for the public. And you need to know, think about it. This is what they're telling you that went on, 40, 50, 60 years ago, in the 60s. And, it's been going on the whole time. But once they start coming out, you can about guarantee it's probably still going on, allegedly. And we're trying to get to it here. Six Sins. Next clip. Here we go.
The Earth is a spinning ball. But what if it never was? Flat Earth believers say everything we've been told is a lie, from space travel to satellite images. If Earth is really spinning at 1,000 MeV, why can't we feel it? Why does water stay perfectly flat? And why can airplanes fly the same speed in every direction? NASA's images of Earth? They admit most are composites, digitally created, not raw photos. And here's the twist. No one is allowed to explore Antarctica freely. Treaties prevent it. Some say it's not an icy continent, but a wall that surrounds the flat Earth. Why would they lie? Because if the Earth is flat, everything else falls apart. Space, evolution. The entire system sound crazy? That's what they want you to think. They taught you the Earth is a...
I can't really say either way, whether it's a heterachelion or whether it's a pylon or whether it's a square or a pyramid or a circle. What I can tell you is it doesn't matter. Where you are is where you're going to be. Stop worrying about whether the Earth's flat or whether the Earth's round. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Make your judgment based upon what you feel in your soul, in your heart, in your gut. In this next clip.
And in the hybrid programs that I was associated with, they were cloning not only species like plants and animals, but they were also regenerating tissues of extraterrestrials and growing them and then cloning them. And then they started cloning humans a very long time ago. It's interesting now that in the news, after talking about this a few times, that now they're coming for China, just has been doing it forever, but in their underground facilities, cloning people, cloning, of course, you heard about they cloned the first primate. And hey, they can clone a primate. This verifies what I'm talking about. They can definitely clone a human. And they're also growing humans for organs. But clones are everywhere. Human, extraterrestrial, they're wandering all over. Some people will refer to these as doppelgangers because they can grow a human to look like someone and mind program and implant them with circuitry and things like this. And they will really think they had this life and implant them into a business or into whatever organization they want.
Well, is there a hidden agenda? Because you just brought something up that scares the living daylights out of me. To replace us with a clone, and who would know the difference?
This is one of the probably only times, George, that you got me on a negative part, because there is an agenda. There are hundreds of people being cloned in underground facilities in Australia and in some parts of the United States. There's no reason to, clone people and keep it a secret and make horrible experiments on these people and mind implant them.
We're primarily concerned about humans cloning human for their own purpose.
Right.
But what about ETs cloning humans?
I mean, it's possible. I'm not aware of any extraterrestrials that are,
That'd be the
humans.
thing.
I am aware of extraterrestrial beings that are collecting DNA from humans.
That's been ongoing.
But for a good reason, not for a bad reason. They can make anything too. I mean, they're already at an advanced level of science that we would not understand to do that if they needed to.
Is a clone, Emery, basically human being identical to the clone? And so they eat, they sleep, they do everything that a human does?
No, because they're they still have to go through the growing process. It's a lot of work.
You can't speed that up.
Well, they have sped it up. They can make a George Nori in about 8 years, from baby to you.
Okay.
The problem is the brain cannot grow that fast as the body can. There seems to be a problem they're having with the brains.
What's the agenda? What's the mission here to clone?
I don't know that agenda. I can just give you my opinion on it, that they would use it for a fear type thing, such as a fake alien invasion, definitely control, like a secret army, a secret group of assassins. It was very frightful just to know that they're doing this on a mass production conveyor belt is horrifying enough.
I completely believe in that. I completely believe that it's true and possible, that there's hybrid programs, and I can't wait till I can get a clone, so I can get some stuff done. Right here, right now. 666, here we go.
Deep beneath the border of France and Switzerland, the world's most powerful machine hums with energy that could power a small city. The Large Hadron Collider at CERN smashes particles together at nearly the speed of light, recreating conditions that existed moments after the Big Bang. But some scientists fear that CERN isn't just studying the fundamental nature of reality, it's actively changing it. They believe the collider could be tearing holes in the fabric of space-time itself, opening doorways to dimensions we were never meant to access. And the evidence suggests they might already have succeeded. The European Organization for Nuclear Research, known as CERN, operates the largest and most powerful particle accelerator in the world. The Large Hadron Collider, or LHC, is a 17-mile underground ring where protons are accelerated to 99.991% the speed of light before being smashed together. The official purpose is to study fundamental particles and forces, seeking answers to questions about the nature of matter, energy, and the universe itself. CERN has made remarkable discoveries, including the Higgs boson in 2012. But the energies involved are staggering. Each collision generates temperatures 100,000 times hotter than the core of the sun. The magnetic fields are 100,000 times stronger than Earth's magnetic field. We're talking about forces that haven't existed since the first moments of the universe. Dr. Stephen Hawking, before his death, warned that the Higgs boson could become unstable at very high energies, potentially causing a catastrophic vacuum decay that would destroy the universe. But that's not the only concern. Some physicists believe the LHC could create microscopic black holes, wormholes, or even tears in the dimensional fabric of reality itself. Dr. Mikio Kaku, a theoretical physicist, has stated, "When you're dealing with energies this extreme, you're entering territory where the normal rules of physics might not apply. We could be opening doorways to dimensions we don't understand." The dimensional portal theory isn't just science fiction speculation. It's based on legitimate physics concepts that CERN scientists themselves have discussed. String theory suggests that our universe has more than the 4 dimensions we experience, possibly as many as 11 dimensions. Most of these extra dimensions are compactified, or curled up so small we can't detect them. But at the extreme energies generated by the LHC, some physicists believe these extra dimensions could become accessible. Dr. Lisa Randall of Harvard University has proposed that gravity might leak into these extra dimensions, which could explain why gravity is so much weaker than other fundamental forces. In 2015, CERN scientists published a paper discussing the theoretical possibility of creating extra-dimensional portals through high-energy collisions. While they framed it as purely theoretical, the fact that they're seriously considering such possibilities is significant. Dr. Sergio Bertolucci, former director for research at CERN, made a startling statement in 2009. "Out of this door might come something, or we might send something through it." When pressed about what he meant, Bertolucci clarified that he was referring to the possibility of detecting or accessing extra dimensions. But his choice of words, door, was telling. Strange phenomena have been reported at CERN since the LHC began operations. In 2009, a bird allegedly dropped a piece of bread onto critical electrical equipment, causing a significant malfunction. Some researchers jokingly suggested the bird was sent from the future to prevent a dangerous experiment. But the joke took on a more serious tone when theoretical physicists Holger Nielsen and Masao Ninomiya published a paper suggesting that the Higgs boson might be sabotaging itself from the future to prevent its own discovery. In 2015, CERN's official social media accounts posted images and videos that appeared to show strange phenomena: unusual cloud formations above the facility, unexplained lights, and what some interpreted as portal-like openings in the sky. CERN later claimed these were either natural phenomena or hoaxes, but the images sparked intense speculation about what was really happening at the facility. Perhaps most disturbing are the reports from CERN employees themselves. Several scientists have anonymously reported experiencing temporal anomalies, brief periods where time seemed to slow down or speed up during high-energy experiments. One physicist, speaking on condition of anonymity, described an incident during a 2016 experiment. The collision data showed impossible results. Particles appeared to be arriving at detectors before they were created. We ran the experiment multiple times with the same results before the data was classified. Another researcher reported seeing shadow figures in the tunnels during late-night shifts, humanoid shapes that appeared to move independently of any physical presence. Security cameras allegedly captured some of these incidents before the footage was confiscated. The Mandela effect, the phenomenon where large groups of people remember events differently than recorded history, has been linked by some researchers to CERN's experiments. The theory suggests that high-energy particle collisions might be causing reality to shift between parallel dimensions, creating inconsistencies in collective memory. Proponents point to the timing of many reported Mandela effects, which seem to correlate with major CERN experiments. The 2012 discovery of the Higgs boson, in particular, coincided with a surge in reports of reality inconsistencies. Dr. Fiona Broom, who coined the term Mandela effect, has suggested that CERN's experiments might be merging timelines, or allowing information to bleed through from parallel realities. More concerning are the reports of dimensional intrusions, entities or phenomena that don't belong to our reality appearing near the CERN facility. In 2016, a video surfaced allegedly showing a ritual being performed at CERN, with participants wearing robes and appearing to sacrifice a human figure. CERN dismissed it as a prank by employees, but the incident raised questions about what other activities might be taking place at the facility. Local residents near CERN have reported increased paranormal activity since the LHC began operations. UFO sightings, unexplained electromagnetic phenomena, and encounters with beings that don't appear entirely human have all been documented in the area. The scientific community is divided on the dimensional portal theory. Mainstream physicists argue that while the LHC operates at high energies, they're still far below the Planck scale, where dimensional effects would become significant. Dr. Brian Cox, a particle physicist and former CERN researcher, states, "The energies we're dealing with, while extreme by human standards, are actually quite modest compared to cosmic ray collisions that happen naturally in Earth's atmosphere every day." However, other scientists point out that the LHC creates sustained, controlled conditions that don't occur naturally. The concentrated energy and precise timing of collisions could potentially create effects that random cosmic ray impacts cannot. Dr. Walter Wagner, a nuclear physicist, has repeatedly warned about the potential dangers of CERN's experiments. He's filed lawsuits attempting to halt operations, arguing that the risks of creating stable black holes or dimensional rifts haven't been adequately studied. We're conducting experiments that could fundamentally alter the nature of reality, Wagner argues. The fact that we don't fully understand the consequences doesn't mean we should proceed blindly. CERN's own safety assessments acknowledge theoretical risks, but conclude they're negligible. However, critics point out that these assessments are based on current understanding of physics, understanding that could be incomplete or incorrect. If CERN is indeed opening portals to other dimensions, The implications are staggering. We could be inadvertently inviting contact with entities from parallel realities, alternate versions of ourselves, or beings from dimensions with entirely different physical laws. Some researchers suggest that advanced civilizations might use dimensional portals for travel or communication. If CERN has created such openings, we might have announced our presence to intelligences we're not prepared to encounter. The timing of CERN's major experiments has coincided with increases in global instability, natural disasters, and social upheaval. While correlation doesn't prove causation, some researchers wonder if manipulating the fundamental structure of reality might have unintended consequences. Dr. Anthony Patch, who studies CERN's activities, suggests, when you're tearing holes in space-time, you're not just affecting the local area, you're potentially destabilizing the entire fabric of reality across multiple dimensions. CERN continues to push the boundaries of human knowledge, planning even more powerful experiments for the future. The high-luminosity LHC upgrade will increase collision rates by a factor of 10, generating energies that dwarf current capabilities. Whether these experiments will unlock the secrets of the universe or accidentally unleash forces beyond our control remains to be seen. But one thing is certain. We're conducting experiments that our ancestors would have considered godlike in their scope and power. The next time you hear about a breakthrough at CERN, remember that we're not just studying reality, we might be actively reshaping it. And if the dimensional portal theory is correct, we may have already opened doors that can never be closed. The question isn't whether we can open portals to other dimensions. The question is whether we should, and whether it might already be too late to stop. Thanks for watching Dark Thoughts, where we delve into the shadows of reality that others are afraid to explore. Like most...
All right, you guys, I definitely agree with about half of everything I've seen just there. Let's jump back.
On the nights of August 12th and 13th, 2025, Earth will pass through a trail of cosmic debris, sparking the spectacular Perseid meteor shower. Originating from Comet Swift-Tuttle, this event can produce up to 100 meteors per hour, each streaking through the sky at over 133,000 miles per hour. Some will leave glowing trails, others may burst into brilliant fireballs. With only a faint crescent moon, the skies will be dark, perfect for viewing. No telescope needed. Just find a spot away from city lights, lie back, and watch fragments of an ancient comet light up the night. A cosmic show written in the stars. On the nights of August 12th and...
See, now I'm into things like that. That I can do.
Roger, and stand by. We'll take a look at it. We'll have to wait.
Hey, I can't stand this shit. Next clip. I told you guys, schools are closing down, the colleges are closing down, the hospitals are closing down, the jobs are going away. Maybe because of AI or whatever. You get ready to be at home raising your child like you should have been. Had parents be raising their child and the family had been split up by family planning, family plaque, all these things throughout history that's broken up the family and made it completely normal to not have two parents in the home, sometimes not even one, sometimes not even a blood member. It's coming to fruition. It's happening right now, and we're going to get into it right here on this clip. Let's do it.
Right now that schools across the country are closing. Wait till you see the amount of schools that are closed. So schools across the United States are closing due to spikes in influenza and other seasonal illnesses. Schools and even entire school districts are temporarily closing in Texas, Ohio, Georgia, Tennessee, and other states. It's a measure reminiscent of the COVID lockdown era. Schools are shutting their doors, some pausing classes entirely, while others pivot to remote learning, all due to the surge in respiratory illness. So the flu is a common and highly contagious respiratory illness that can be a week's worth of miserable symptoms such as a fever, chills, cough, sore throat, runny nose, and body aches. And it transmits very easily from person to person. But this flu ain't the same old flu. Flu activity is high nationally and continues to increase across the country, according to the CDC. Get this, at least 41 states are currently reporting very high or high influenza-like illnesses. 41 states, people. Dr. Jason Newland, the division chief of infectious diseases at Nationwide Children's Hospital, said that what worries us the most are bacterial infections that can follow alongside influenza, get kids super sick. Flu itself and those complications can lead to passing in children. Influenza is scary. So far, there have been at least 20 million illnesses and 250,000 hospitalizations and 11 right now that schools across the country are closing.
Bill Gates announces the next pandemic date and outbreak location in 2025.
Have announced when we will see the next pandemic, and they have a date for us. So get this on your calendar. Prepare, plan your trips around this next pandemic right now. We'll have more on that in a second and the dates. But you'll remember Bill Gates and the World Health Organization previously held what was known as the 2001 Event 201. And it was about the Event 201 exercise. It was a simulation involving a coordinated global response to a coronavirus that they held in a simulation just months before COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. So they're pretty good at predicting this stuff. I don't know how they pull this off.
Fauci, remember, Fauci told Trump in 2017, not that there could be, not that there might be, but there would be a pandemic during his presidency.
Yes.
Yeah, and Obama ran exercises for it during his presidency. Pregnancy.
During his pregnancy.
During his presidency.
At the womb factory.
So they've just gotten together and they're doing it again now. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, along with Johns Hopkins Center for Health Security and the World Health Organization. I wish I was making this up, but this is not a conspiracy theory. They did this. And they just conducted their next pandemic tabletop exercise in Belgium. It's called the Catastrophic Contagion. Hey, honey, where are you going this weekend? I'm going to Belgium. I got a conference. Oh, yeah, what's it about? It's called the Catastrophic Contagion event. Oh, what are you guys going to be doing? Oh, we're just planning the next pandemic. Just getting everything ready. Getting everything ready, locked up, and the new virus and vaccines. We'll have vaccines ready to go because that's how we do this. We plan it, and then we, of course, have the vaccines ready to go. So this is the video that Bill Gates put together, along with the team, complete with simulated news reports like this. This is really what they're preparing for us. This video is called Get Ready. Watch. Catastrophic contagion, a global challenge. Breaking news.
Two Latin American countries alerted the WHO of several outbreaks of a new infectious disease that's mysteriously appearing across the region. Severe Epidemic Enterovirus Respiratory Syndrome 2025.
Oh, so that's the name, guys. Just write this down. That'll be the name of it, okay? It's going to be SEERS. It's going to be called the Severe Epidemic Enterovirus Respiratory Syndrome, and 2025 is when we'll see it. Okay. Now it says at the bottom this is a fictional scenario, but come on.
Over the past 6 weeks alone, there have been 500 confirmed or suspected cases reported. The virus could cause a severe pandemic if early containment and mitigation efforts are not successful.
The pandemic in this type of situation and trend would be a risk for the global health security.
Pandemics are inherently political, financial, and so much broader.
We have not spoken on the leadership in country. And I think that we need to be also very careful. We cannot decide a lot of things without the leaders be involved and agree on that.
Oh, really? That's an interesting point that she's making. Oh, instead of unelected globalists making decisions, she's saying, wait a minute, we need to have our leaders involved in this discussion.
Wait, so the white guy was the dissenter,
right?
The one we're supposed to say, oh, yeah, he's a naysayer. We don't agree with him. And then she shuts him down.
She shuts him down, exactly.
All right, you guys, because the climate scientists are conspiracy theories from my bed. Ooh, because I'm tired. All right, here we go.
Whistleblower says prestigious scientific journals only publish papers that fit the narrative. Anything besides doom and gloom, man-made global warming is left unpublished. This is because these studies are often bought and paid for by government grants and charitable foundations, both with political and financial interests in the global warming industry. And it is an industry. But do we really need solar panels, windmills, and electric cars if we can control the weather with laser beams?
Instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts.
Trillion-watt lasers. Oh, my God. Ooh, back to the clip.
This is potentially a game changer. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning.
So instead of controlling the narrative, we can just control the weather. Theoretical physicist Dr. Michio Kaku joins me now. So, Doctor, has the U.S. government been experimenting with weather control?
Believe it or not, the answer is yes. People don't realize that, well, as Mark Twain said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, the government takes exception to that. During the Vietnam War, there was something called Operation Popeye, a top secret program to seed the clouds over Vietnam during the monsoon season to wash the Viet Cong out.
Ooh.
And they actually tried that. They
with laser beams?
Well, no, with silver iodide crystals to condense the water vapor to cause nuclei that would then cause raindrops, and that would then accelerate the monsoon season. Okay?
So are they doing this today, the U.S. government?
Well, it turns out that 8 states in the United States practice some form of weather modification. For example, seeding the clouds with silver iodide. And the Chinese, famously at the Olympics in the year 2008, seeded the clouds in order to have it rain outside of the Olympics. So, weather modification,
did it work?
Apparently, yeah.
And so is it just China and the United States trying to control the weather?
No, many countries have some kind of weather modification program because the economy, trade, war, everything is dependent upon the weather, if you think about it, right?
So can we make things less hot? Because it was a hot summer.
Well, believe it or not, in Dubai, they actually have a laser system based on drones that go into the clouds and fire a laser beam, which, quote, electrifies the air, and these ions then form nuclei.
A trillion-watt laser beam.
Nuclei for raindrops.
Oh.
And it accelerates rain in the Middle East. They get 4 inches of rain per year in Dubai.
All right.
4 inches.
So I can just shoot a laser in the sky and not have to buy a Tesla?
Well, in the United States now, we're also experimenting with terawatt lasers. These are trillion-watt lasers. They're pulsed. They produce more energy in a split second than all the nuclear power plants on the planet Earth. However, it's only for a brief second of time. But in that brief second of time, you ionize and electrify the weather so that you get raindrops.
All right. After COVID, this sounds a little risky, but I'm sure Joe Biden has it perfectly under control. Thank you. Because the climate scientist whistleblower says prestigious scientific journals only publish.
I don't know what to think about that. All I know is I'm sure some of the chemicals that he mentioned in this video is in these vapes too. Check it out. Google it up. GPT it. We're going to the next clip right now.
The old buildings from the old world, the sacred buildings, they used to have these brass balls and they loaded them up with mercury and they'd put them real high up so that they could gather atmospheric energy, which is free energy. The higher you go up, the more energy that's up there. And they would run, for example, a copper wire down into their home and they could use that if they wanted free energy or to light their light bulbs or whatever things that they had in the home. A lot of this is never disclosed because, for example, when we look at all of these things from the past, we start to look at a lot of things were about electrical conductivity. Look at that. They all look like conductors, right? Sacred buildings are looking like conductors. They're built like conductors. There's free energy right there. Free energy right there. But the thing is they changed all the history to make it look like everybody was fighting each other. It was medieval. People were going against each other. But in reality, I think the hidden history of the past is very different than what we've been taught.
Number 3. Bayer spread HIV. Many conspiracies tend to focus on government cabals. Oftentimes, though...
I'll certainly be banned for this one. Let's go back to the clip.
Some of the worst secrets come from the private sector.
They wanted to keep it secret. They didn't want to publicize something which would be damaging for the company.
German pharmaceutical company Bayer has been selling aspirin since 1899. Since that time, they've expanded to all kinds of drugs and medications. In the 1980s, the Bayer-owned company Cutter Biological was selling blood clotting factors for hemophiliacs, but recruiting high-risk donors to manufacture it.
The medicine's called Factor VIII. It was an injection medicine that was used for hemophiliacs, mostly children. Children had been born with an incurable disease. Hold on, Mike.
That clotting factor became contaminated with HIV. When the problem was discovered, Cutter declared the response irrational, but switched over to safe, heat-treated products for the Western market. Then they shipped the contaminated products to Latin America and Asia to make a buck.
This company knew absolutely that they had a problem with the product. They knew that it was infected with AIDS. They dumped it because they wanted to turn this disaster into a profit.
Roughly 20,000 patients were infected by Bayer's. Number 3, Bayer spread HIV.
Oh, man, they talk about things like that, want to get you busted, but I'm telling you the truth, the more you find out about I'm not going to say the V word or the D word, him, he's, and the virus. Anytime you speak about these words on this platform and other platforms, you will be banned. So with that information, we go to the next clip.
Conspiracy theories that will make you question everything you know. The last one will keep you up at night. NASA hired Kubrick to fake the moon landing, and he was such a perfectionist director, the only way to satisfy him was to stage the hoax on the actual moon. A malware app might be tracking your phone activity to steal your bank information. You can check it by clicking on the share button, and then on more. If an unknown app shows up, delete it immediately. There's nothing in Area 51. Everyone knows about it, and if anything important was there, it's have already been broken into or bombed. Apple started the meme about AirPods being expensive as a marketing ploy. Want to know the thing that you are missing right now? Write I miss or I need, and let your keyboard finish the sentence. Before the last one, make sure you click the like button and hit the plus, as we may never see each other again. That Big Bread paid toaster manufacturers to put in a setting that is too high, so the people would burn their toast, meaning that they sell more bread. Conspiracy theories that will make you...
Let's keep rocking it on right now.
In 1994, a government insider claimed there's a classified project designed to fake the end of the world using the sky. They called it Project Bluebeam. At first, no one believed it. A plan to simulate an alien invasion using satellites, holograms, and sound frequencies so precise they could make entire cities hear voices that weren't there. The goal was simple: create global panic, collapse all religions, and unite the world under a single government. A new world order built on fear. In early 2025, it started. People across different countries began reporting the same thing. Massive lights in the sky, apparitions. Some saw angels, some saw alien ships. Some heard a voice calling them by name, telling them to follow. In Canada, a crowd stood motionless for 40 minutes, staring into the clouds. In Brazil, a boy jumped from a building because he thought he was being taken by God. In Japan, people heard whispers in perfect Japanese, but the skies were silent. Governments blamed satellites, drones, weather experiments. They called it coincidence, mass delusion, nothing more. But one man hacked into a closed military frequency and leaked a recording. You can still find it online if you dig deep enough. It wasn't a voice, it was a command. One word, repeated in different languages. Obey. They say the full project hasn't even started yet, and what we've seen so far was just the test. What comes next won't be a test. They don't need to invade, they just need you to believe. Did you know in 1994 a government...
I thought it was funny that they definitely said that the aliens showed up and wanted people to follow. I'm sure that was like, share, subscribe, and follow. Next clip.
The faces behind me, they are among the most powerful men and women on the planet. They are also part of a global conspiracy, a shadow organization that spans across every continent and has for the last 3 decades, consisting of leaders in world government and the private sector. Some call this group the Cabal. The world you live in is the world they want you to think you live in. They start wars, create chaos, and when it suits them, they resolve it. Cabal members will move more money in the next quarter than the World Bank will in the next year. Their alliance affects sea change in every aspect of human life. The value and distribution of commodities, money, weapons, water, fuel, the food we eat to live, the information we rely on to tell us who we are.
Oh, we know all that's the truth. Oh man, keep it rolling.
Space agencies and governments have been lying to us about space. According to this theory, space agencies and world governments are hiding the existence of a massive, invisible veil beyond our solar system. This cosmic veil is believed to be a holographic barrier or an interdimensional shield that prevents humanity from seeing the true nature of the universe. The theory suggests that the veil is maintained by an advanced alien civilization, or even by an AI superintelligence designed to keep humans from interacting with other intelligent species. Astronauts have witnessed it. There are rumors that astronauts on deep space missions, or those who have ventured beyond Earth's low orbit, have seen strange phenomena, which are covered up and labeled as hallucinations or equipment malfunctions. The purpose of the veil. Some proponents say the veil protects humanity from dangerous cosmic entities, while others argue it's a containment system keeping humans quarantined until we evolve to a point where we can safely interact with the broader universe. What do you believe?
I believe there's definitely a veil. I believe we definitely don't see a lot of things. They talk about how the spectrum of light that we can see is minuscule compared to, the lights that we can't see. But that's just what we know we can't see. There's things that we don't know that we can't see that's just as large. All right, next clip.
Their sense of humor is definitely their own. And I thought to myself, okay, that makes sense.
And now private emails are going public.
It's a public relations disaster.
But what I found really interesting as I examined the WikiLeaks documents was it showed that the heads of one of our biggest movie studios in America was in direct communication with very important people in our government. It didn't surprise me. I was like, okay, well, either they're friends or there's something more to it. So I never really thought about the government influencing our content or our stories. Could they be influencing our story and our content? These were real questions that I never had asked myself. I just did the jobs. I went to work, I did my job, I did whatever was asked, and went home. Never thought about this stuff. So I was like, I don't really know anybody that can answer these questions. And I reached out to this guy who I'd been watching online. His name was Kevin Shipp. And for those of you who don't know who Kevin Shipp is, he's a CIA whistleblower. He worked in counterintelligence, and he served in many capacities in his tenure at the CIA.
Yeah, we know it's definitely controlled.
Big picture. An official television report to the nation.
It's a fact, Jack. Everybody knows
My fat and ugly mother was forced to sleep with werewolves because she was a human no one wanted.
I will not partake in these types of things. This is ridiculous.
People are aware that Netflix is a vessel for mass psychological warfare. The co-founder of Netflix, Mark Randolph, is the great-nephew of Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is known as the father of propaganda, and Edward Bernays himself is the nephew of Sigmund Freud, who's known as the father of psychoanalysis. So Bernays took his understanding of Freudian psychology and applied it to mass communication and manipulation of the collective unconscious. He worked for both the CIA and the military in the realm of psychological operations. And in 1928, Bernays wrote a book titled Propaganda. 5 years prior, he wrote a book titled Crystallizing Public Opinion. The cherry on top, though, is Bernays' involvement with the Vatican. Cardinal Francis Spellman, the Archbishop of New York, sent Bernays to the Vatican to learn and study the Jesuits' methods of mental programming. This visit took place in 1957, the same year the papal bull Miranda Porcis was issued, which publicly commands all Roman Catholics to seize as much control of media as possible, whether that be through television, movies, or news outlets. For a little more context on Jesuit involvement in programming through entertainment, the Hollywood Production Code was written by Jesuit priest Daniel Lord S.J., and the Jesuits have have been producing theatrical work since the time of their inception, and even helped write the works of Shakespeare through Sir Toby Matthew, who was a close friend of Francis Bacon and the Rosicrucians. So we know these guys have an affinity for programming through media. Ignoring the connection between their founder and the father of propaganda, Edward Bernays, let's examine Netflix a little further. The wife of Mark Randolph and the former CEO of Netflix was Jesuit trained at 2 different private Jesuit institutions. Other Netflix executives are also Jesuit indoctrinated, while others like Suzanne Rice and Logan Jackson are Rhodes Scholars. The Cecil Rhodes Scholarship Program is to funnel the brightest young minds to Oxford and indoctrinate them into globalist alliance. It was stated by Cecil Rhodes at the time of his death in his will that he wanted to create a secret society that was modeled after the Jesuit order. Bill Clinton was a Rhodes Scholar. I'm going to make a video all about that. I actually posted one on another account that got taken down already. Most of you could probably pinpoint in your memory a show or a movie that you thought was a bit peculiar programming to a degree, but the truth is 90% of them are. The most obvious being things like Leave the World Behind, Don't Look Up, Stranger Things, Marriage Story, The Two Popes, and even Big Mouth. And I'm sure you haven't forgotten about the movie that's borderline child entertainment, if you will. Cuties, it was called. That's my favorite one to go back and, rewatch, research for educational purposes. But yeah, Netflix, to no surprise for most of you, I'm sure, is a vessel of mass psychological manipulation, which is no different from the videos I'm making. Who can you trust these days? Not enough people.
Absolutely nobody. Did you know something? Don't trust anybody, because anything you see on these screens, including myself, they're just looking out for, monetization, followership, friendship, likes, views. That's even myself. But the main thing I'm looking for is to build a camaraderie, build a conduit to you people, so that I can find people of the likes, people that are into the same things. Let's keep rocking and rolling right here. 66 cents.
People believe that the Titanic was actually sunk on purpose. Yeah, they say it wasn't just a freak accident.
Now look, whereas I normally don't deal with these known fake AI, they'll start with somebody like Joe Rogan, and this one start, and they'll switch over, to the whole thing's AI with voice, but they'll give you an image, and as whereas I normally don't go with these kind of things, this particular story, absolutely 100% true, allegedly.
To this theory, the Titanic was deliberately sent to the bottom of the ocean as part of a massive financial conspiracy. The theory claims that the real target wasn't the ship, it was the wealthy people aboard. You see, some believe that a group of elite bankers, including J.P. Morgan, wanted to get rid of certain powerful figures in the banking world, and the Titanic disaster was the perfect cover-up. But here's where it gets really strange. They say the ship wasn't even the Titanic. Instead, it was switched with another ship, the Olympic, which had been damaged earlier and was considered no longer.
I mean, you've got the Olympic, you've got Carpathia, you've got the Titanic. They were all ships that were built from J.P. Morgan, through J.P. Morgan, the guy who single-handedly shut down the European stock market and bought up the entire stock market for pennies on the pound. Same clip.
Fit for service. Some conspiracy theorists claim the owners deliberately sank the Olympic in place of the Titanic, knowing it would cause the ultimate distraction. And get this, J.P. Morgan, the man who owned the Titanic, was supposed to be on board. But right before the trip, he mysteriously canceled, citing an illness. Was it just a coincidence, or did he know what was about to happen? Some think this was all planned out in advance, a sinister plot to eliminate enemies and take control of the financial world. Now, let's be clear, this is just a theory, but it's one that's been around for decades. There's no hard proof, but the strange coincidences make you think. So, what do you think? Could the sinking of the Titanic have been orchestrated, or is this just another wild conspiracy theory that we can't ignore? Did you know some people...
Well, I think we know the answer to that. It's not just some wild conspiracy theory. These things have been found. They sent people down, not the ones that blew up, but other people through the years have, sank swam, dropped down to go look at the Titanic, both for salvaging reasons, both for gold, just stuff. But they seen on the side of the ship were actual letters from the Olympic. Was it Olympic, Olympia, whatever he just said? I don't know. I have a bad memory. What were we talking about? The ships. They found letters for C. It was a C. It was some letter that was in Olympia that wasn't in Titanic, that was obviously visually seen there, and it was just really, really crazy. So next clip.
What if the world only renders when you look at it? That's not sci-fi. That's dimensional simulation hypothesis 2.0. Reality doesn't exist until it's observed. Just like quantum particles no defined state until measured. You're in a layered simulation. Each dimension is a subfolder in the code. Ever spin and get dizzy? That might be the system lagging to render all inputs. Deja vu, glitch in the dimensional buffer. The moon, maybe a rendering anchor or offsite server. Your consciousness fuels the render. Your focus shifts the simulation. You're not in base reality. You're being watched.
I believe that's definitely true.
A group of rogue scientists, known only as the Signalists, released a document on the dark web titled the Omega Protocol. It claimed that every major world government had been preparing for the end, not because of war, climate change, or disease, but because of a countdown embedded in our own biology. The theory? Humanity is a genetically engineered species, an experiment by an unknown intelligence, built with a biological expiration date. Once the countdown reached 0, a global neural shutdown would occur. The Signalists said the final trigger wasn't a virus, bomb, or AI. It was a sound, a frequency broadcast through everyday technology, phones, smart speakers, TVs. We wouldn't notice it, not consciously, but it would switch us off when the time came. Everyone laughed until the world got quieter. Birdsong disappeared, dogs stopped barking, insects vanished overnight. Then came the silence event, a 12-minute global blackout where everything with a screen went blank. No power surge, no EMP, just silence. Then everything turned back on like nothing had happened, except people were different. Some forgot their own names for minutes at a time, others stared into space for hours, and some swore they could hear a low hum at night, always right before waking up from the same dream. The Earth viewed from space, with a huge black eye slowly opening beneath the oceans. Governments denied everything, but the Signalists posted one final message. They're not coming. They're already here, and they've begun shutting us down one mind at a time. 2 days later, every known member of the Signalists vanished. No arrests, no witnesses, just silence. Now people across the globe have started disappearing during sleep. No trace, no explanation. Just an empty bed and that lingering hum on every abandoned phone recorded in the background like a heartbeat. Frequency, 47.3. Hertz duration, infinite. In 2027,
I don't know. Sometimes I hear things on here I want to agree with. Some of them make sense. There's a big thing like we all disappeared in 2012. Same thing happened in 1999 when the switchover happened. And I think the new big one for everybody to look out for is 2027. That's supposed to be by that time they're going to admit that the aliens are here, which is us trying to regain control of a population that's gotten out of control. And by out of control, I just mean more than they want. The they that they are is them that they're going to control through their culling, we'll call it. The Great culling is what they say. And we're going to get to the next clip right here, right now.
Conspiracy theories that will make you question your existence. The last one with Keep You Up at Night. All beauty products and skin creams are a scam and are designed to make your skin need more of them constantly. Cars can go above the speed limit just so governments can fine us and take our money. Why else would they make cars that go 160 mph if I am not allowed to drive that fast? If you type in, "I'm tired of," and let your keyboard finish the sentence, it will tell you what you're tired of. Nikola Tesla was actually murdered by the government, and his papers were taken due to the fact that he had actually succeeded in creating free electricity. But by that point, the government had invested too much into wired electricity to turn back now. Russia is pushing for global warming as it will open up most of their territory for suitable living and farming. Computer viruses are made by antivirus companies to test their antivirus software. All rocks are soft until you go to touch them. Like and follow for more interesting conspiracy theories.
Well, I hear some of the craziest stuff on here, man. That's just rocks are soft until you go to touch them. So crazy. Keep things going right here.
So when you have all these mirrors, definitely if you're not vibrating on a high frequency, you letting all type of demonic forces into your or satanic forces, I should say, into your aura, into your atmosphere. All right, and the mirror lies to you. The mirror lies to you, and mirrors actually talk to you. If you sit there with them close, if you sit there with them long enough, you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you sit in the mirror and stare at yourself long enough, you will see yourself move. You will see things take place in the mirror that don't really exist. And the realm that's being shown back to you, you're like, oh, well, I can see the wall behind me, so this mirror must just be reflecting what's behind me. That's what it's designed to make you think, because the mirror is alive. It's a source of intelligence. Stop thinking when you're looking at a mirror, it's just some glass. No, it's alive. It has intelligence, so it adapts to you. If you're in a room with a white wall with this on it, it's going to reflect that back to you to make you think, oh, this is what it was designed to do. This way it's able to hide its true negative intent. Mirrors are very negative things. They are very negative things. Don't get me wrong, it's cool to have them. And that's why every bathroom comes with them. Every house comes with them. They all in your car. Right? But don't forget what you are as well. You are electricity. What restricts electricity? Glass. A mirror is a form of glass. Glass, rubber, plastic, and cloth. So this all goes together when we're talking about mirrors. So when you have all these mirrors,
yeah, everybody knows there's a little something funny because on mirrors, man. When I get in front of them, I'm like, beautiful and perfect. Listen, anybody that gets in front of a mirror, especially you ladies, and you know it, but all of us, mirrors are there for one reason and one reason only, huh? That's to look and find what? What do you look for in a mirror? Like, put it down in the comments. What do you look for most when you look in a mirror? So if you're one of these people that don't look in the mirror, don't say, I don't look in the mirror. Everyone looks in the mirror. 300,000 years ago, everyone looked in the lake, huh? Before they drank their water or what have you. But I think everybody looks in the mirror for one thing and one thing only, and that is mistakes. Stop being, brainwashed and stop looking in the mirror for your mistakes. Look in the mirror to recite your, I am awesome. I am beautiful. People want to be like me. I like people. I want people to use me for their benefit so that I may use them for my benefit in the positive light. Say good things. Say positive things because you are out there or in there and listening. Next clip.
You know how people say life doesn't feel real ever since 2020?
Yeah.
Well, look, it's because it isn't. For the decades leading up to 2020, there was something going on that the general public never could have expected. Certain aspects of our technology weren't only just providing services for us, they were planning a dramatic shift of consciousness. Google Earth, for the last 25 years, has been creating a completely digitized, three-dimensional blueprint of the entire planet, a perfect database of 3D tracked images of what our external world looks like. While all of our devices that were inside the home, riddled with cameras, have been slowly building back-end digitized replicas of what our households look and feel like. Silently, this siphoned visual information was being harnessed to build a massive digitized replica of our world inside and out, a kind of complex virtual reality that perfectly mimics the real one. Our digital footprints were used to create hyper-realistic digital avatars in this world that look and feel just like us. This virtual reality was being... You know how people say...
I can't stand this. You guys, I'm going to call these out every time I see them. And if you guys see one and I miss it, leave it down in the comments and let me know. These videos start with a real person in a real situation from a real podcast or a real somehow televised, phonovised, tabletized, computerized, laptopized, I have to go back to that. Anyway, so they're there to fake you out, make you think he's saying something he did not say. I can't stand this, dude. Keep your opinions to yourself unless you want to come on as yourself, as goofy as you may be. Like, make yourself look like an idiot. Don't allow people that are intelligent, okay, to look like an idiot by you making them out look like an idiot, because that just makes you, who is this? Joe Munoz. Joe, don't do that, bro. There's people that react to it. And I'll tell the truth, tell you how I feel about it. That's just how I feel right here, right now, on Sick Six Cents.
So here are 5 conspiracy theories that turned out to be true. Number 5, the NSA spying on the American people. In 2013, Edward Snowden revealed that the NSA had mass collections of telephone and internet data on global communications. Number 4, MK Ultra. This was the CIA's real and declassified covert program at trying to develop mind control and create sleeper agents by experimenting on real people, usually without their consent. They basically experimented on people with drugs like LSD or tried hypnosis to see its effects on the human mind. They even tried to see if they could invent some sort of like truth serum. They also experimented with turning cats and dolphins into weapons. Number 3, the sabotage of the civil rights movement. So this has to do with the FBI's counterintelligence program, which was a series of cover and illegal actions taken by the FBI to disrupt the plight of Black Americans to gain equal rights in the U.S. This included methods like spying on activists and then leaking negative personal information. Secret agents would create racial tensions within groups to break them down from the inside, stopping organized peaceful protest by having secret agents within the groups start conflict with the police, allowing police to retaliate. Number 1 is Operation Northwood. This one's insane. This was a real proposed declassified plan by the U.S. staged a terrorist attack on American soil to justify intervention in Cuba. It was never done, but it was still revealed decades later in declassified documents. And if they were willing to do it then, who says they wouldn't do it now? So here are 5.
Absolutely. I mean, I've heard about, they said the cats and the dolphins. I've absolutely heard where the CIA MI6 actually sent a cat with a listening device into Russia, to the Kremlin, to listen what was going on with the dolphins. I mean, there's actually a law. There's a law that states, look it up, that we can't talk to dolphins. If they catch you communicating, that's a charge, and it's a serious thing. You got to ask yourself, why would they not want you to talk and communicate with a dolphin? Next clip.
What if I told you that the increase in chronic illnesses like diabetes, cancer, and heart disease isn't just bad luck or a result of modern life, but part of a bigger plan? Think about it. Despite all the amazing advances in medicine, how often do you hear about a real cure for these diseases? Not just a treatment that you take every day, but an actual cure that makes the problem disappear forever. It's rare, isn't it? Some people believe this isn't a coincidence. They say the system we trust to keep us healthy might actually be designed to keep us sick. Let's start with Big Pharma, the name given to the powerful companies that make medicine. These companies make billions of dollars every year, not by curing diseases, but by selling drugs that people need to take for their whole lives. If they cured everyone, they'd lose customers. Imagine if there were a pill that could completely cure diabetes. Wouldn't that be great? But here's the catch. Once everyone is cured, there's no more need for diabetes medication. That's a huge loss of money for the companies making those drugs. Some people believe this is why so much money goes into treatments, and so little goes into finding actual cures. But it's not just about the medicine. Look at the food we eat every day. Most of it is processed, full of sugar, unhealthy fats, and chemicals, with names you can't even pronounce. These foods aren't just making us gain weight, they're causing long-term health problems like heart disease and diabetes. And who approves these foods? The same agencies that are supposed to protect us. Even though studies show that some of these ingredients are harmful, they still end up on our plates. Why? Because food companies and pharmaceutical companies often work hand in hand. The worse our diets are, the more health problems we develop. The more health problems we have, the more money Big Pharma makes by selling us treatments. And it goes deeper. Have you ever noticed how some researchers or doctors who talk about natural cures or alternative treatments get silenced? Maybe their funding is suddenly cut, or they're labeled as crazy by the media. There are stories of promising research into cures for cancer, diabetes, and other diseases being buried or blocked because it would hurt the profits of major companies. Some scientists have even come forward to say they were told to stop their work if it got too close to a real cure. Then there's the issue of who's in charge. Many of the people who work for organizations like the FDA or CDC, the ones that regulate medicine and food, used to work for big pharmaceutical or food companies. When their time in government is done, many go back to those companies. This revolving door creates a conflict of interest. How can these agencies truly protect public health when the people running them are tied to the industries they're supposed to regulate? It's a system where every part feeds into the next. Processed food makes us sick. The sickness creates demand for medication. The medication doesn't cure us but manages our symptoms, so we keep buying it. Meanwhile, the same companies that profit from this cycle influence the agencies that are supposed to look out for us. So, what does this mean for us? It means we need to start asking questions. Why aren't there more cures? Why do harmful ingredients stay in our food? Why is so much money made from keeping us sick? The answers might be uncomfortable, but they're important. The truth is out there. You just have to be willing to look for it. What if I told you that
He said it. The truth's out there. The truth's out there. You just need to be willing to look for it. I couldn't have said it better myself. They'll stop creating these foods if you stop eating them. Like when you realize that 3% of all the meat, look it up. 3% of all the meat that's out there is absolutely been found to contain human DNA. These aren't toenails. These aren't dust that falls off your skin during manufacturing. This is actual human DNA in the meat that's in majorly, the largest percentage of it is in fast food, but it goes all the way to Food Line, Walmart, Publix, Piggly Wiggly's, and your dinner table. So, next clip. I can't take it. Next
Three
clip. Next clip. I can't
disturbing
take it.
conspiracy theories that turned out to be true.
These ones I like.
MK Ultra. The CIA secretly ran mind control experiments on unwitting citizens using LSD and psychological torture. Operation Northwoods. U.S. military leaders proposed staging false flag attacks on Americans to justify war with Cuba. Tuskegee Syphilis Study. Black men were denied treatment for syphilis to study its effects, even after a cure existed. If you found these facts interesting, please leave
we all know those are true.
Sir, I need a ride.
Do I look like a cabbie to you?
Weren't you like a cop?
Have you ever wondered why we sleep every night? What if it's not to rest, but to forget? There's a theory that Earth resets every 24 hours, not the world, you. Every night, your memories are wiped and the ones you wake up with are just reinstallations. Déjà vu? That's a glitch. Those random dreams, fragments they missed. Sometimes people remember too much. They call it mental illness. But what if those are just the ones who woke up before the system finished updating? The stars don't move. The moon doesn't spin. Maybe it's not the universe that's real. Maybe it's the loop. You think you've lived years? Number. You've lived one day over and over and over. Have you ever wondered why we sleep every night?
That sounds wild. You never know. Could be very well true. Something happens when we sleep. What it is, I don't know. For me, it's constantly waking up every 10 minutes. I can't even remember the last time I went into a REM sleep and had an actual dream, nightmare, any of that. I have more daydreams when I'm napping, here and there. I don't even pass up a good nap. I'm sitting around, if I'm sitting around doing some reactions or just doing some research online, I get to doing this. You find yourself one eye half open, the other one blinking, going a little crazy. Not me, bro. I go, this is me. If I'm watching something, loving what I'm watching. And I start catching that one eye wink. I do this. Next clip.
What if I told you time isn't what you think it is? What if the timeline we're living in is nothing more than a trap, carefully constructed to keep humanity from ever reaching its true potential? Let me explain the time lock theory. This theory claims that thousands of years ago, an advanced civilization, one far more evolved than we are today, discovered the ability to manipulate time itself. They built vast machines hidden deep within the Earth that created an artificial loop, forcing humanity to live within a controlled reality. The purpose? To reset our progress every time we get too close to uncovering the truth. Have you ever wondered why humanity seems to repeat the same mistakes over and over again? Wars, empires rising and falling, civilizations collapsing. It's all part of the loop. Every few thousand years, the timeline is reset, wiping out our memories of what came before. But some believe the signs of past timelines are still here, hidden in ancient ruins and artifacts we can't fully explain. What if the pyramids or Stonehenge are remnants of a world before the last reset? And here's where it gets scary. Some theorists believe glitches in the loop are becoming more frequent. Mandela effects, déjà vu, and unexplained anomalies might be cracks in the system. Signs that the time machine controlling us is breaking down. Could 2025 be the year the loop resets again, or will we finally break free? Think about it. What if time itself has been weaponized to keep humanity in the dark? Are we prisoners of a false timeline? Let me know in the comments. Do you feel like something?
You know, I think definitely there's something wild with all that. I mean, time, it may be a man-made thing, but it's based off of something that's very precise. You know, somebody leave in the comments. Let me ask you something. Like, we know that we celebrate the death, birth, and resurrection of Jesus Christ, our Savior, that died for our sins, and only can we be saved through the blood of Jesus. And once he was murdered and killed and sacrificed, we started day one. This is 2025. At the time I'm recording this, and that's a celebratory statement of 2025 years since we murdered, killed, and sacrificed our Savior. So think about that. And then we celebrate all that by putting crosses around our necks, out in front of our churches. And you've got to watch a population that'll celebrate and remembrance of something or someone by sticking up a cross. That's what he died on. That's like walking up to Jackie Onassis with a sniper rifle pinned on. Hey, Jackie, just thinking about John. Alrighty then, next clip again.
What if I told you the real Earth ended in 1998, and everything you know is just a fading copy? During a rare cosmic event, something tore our world apart. Without warning, we were shifted into a near-perfect simulation. But it's breaking down. That's why memories don't match, why the weather's insane, why time feels wrong. Every glitch you notice, every Mandela effect, is reality cracking at the edges. The original Earth is gone. We're just living inside its ghost. What?
Conspiracy theories that will make you rethink everything you know. The last one is the most shocking. That your phone's microphone is constantly hot and it's listening for keywords to target advertising. Want to know the thing that you are missing most right now? Write I miss or I need, and let your keyboard finish the sentence. The reason Disney came out with a movie called Frozen was so that when you Googled Disney, Frozen, you would get information about the movie and not websites talking about Walt Disney's body being frozen. Did you know that TikTok knows who your truest friend is? Your secret keeper is the second person that pops up when you click on share and then select more. Aliens infiltrated Earth long ago and are hiding as printers to test our aggression and patience before invading. Before the last conspiracy, make sure to press the like button and hit the plus, as we may never see each other again. Area 51 was a conspiracy theory that was started by the US government to lead the Soviet Union to falsely believe that the US had alien technology during the Cold War.
Yeah, I don't know about all that, man. You never know.
And asked to solve this problem.
Here we go.
This timeline contraction problem. And I eventually did my due diligence and did all the investigating and basically only had one piece of information, and that was reinforcement. The computer's right. The timelines will contract down to some inevitable thing. There is an inevitable event. It's been forecast, it's been predicted, it's been fed to us in a slop trough of what they want us to believe will happen. They don't actually have control over what happens. They only have control over the reaction And it seems that no matter what they tried to do to cause their desired reaction, it's going to have an opposite effect. Much, much easier for me to explain today what that process is as opposed to back then. If I had to give it a name, I would say it's the awakening process. It's an evolution of consciousness that cannot, will not, and no matter what decisions or possibilities are injected into the equation, eventually it all resolves down to us all learning the truth and becoming aware of this massive dam of lies that has been built that keep us from knowing massive volume of information that we should otherwise possess. Essentially what happened with Looking Glass, not only did they not want people to use it anymore because they knew it was just going to burp out the same thing, but at the same time they didn't want anybody else to know what it was saying. I'm sure. Because that information was a monumental concern when I was in the military about how to prevent this inevitability. Now, at first I thought it was end of the world. Now I see end of the world as end of their world. The biggest cherry on top of all this conversation would be a synopsis to say that if I could convince everybody out there that for all intents and purposes, what we believe to be true eventually becomes true. If somebody convinces us that a major disaster is going to happen in the very near future, a major disaster happens in the very near future. If we don't buy into that fear and accept that there's really nothing that we know is going to happen, that I was called in and asked to...
I definitely believe that we're in the bottleneck of truth. A lot of people for a long time has told a lot of lies, and all that's coming true, not just in 2025, but from here on out. I believe that we've definitely taken the alternative route than what was planned. But for every good, there has to be a bad. There's no way around it. So the people that actually control the planet, and I don't mean the Phoenicians or the 13 families, I mean beyond the pyramid idealist, the one that's has no man ever seen, the unborn ones, okay, that really control the planet, that really control your thoughts and everything that goes down on it. The plan is that deception can only be lied about, and that story told for so long. Eventually, like my grandpa said, it all comes out in the wash down there. No matter what you do, it always comes out in the wash down there. And if it don't come out in the wash, it'll come out in the rinse. But by the time you throw it in the washing machine, it's clean. And if it ain't, then you got some dirty ass clothes. You need to go get some more clothes and put them on down there with your socks and your shoes down there. You need to go and get you some more. And that's what's happening right here, right now. We're going through the bottleneck, and truth is upon us. All you have to do is open your eyes, guys. These conspiracy theories and these conspiracy stories that I go through, people ask me why I'm so into it, why I spend a lot of my time studying the things that they say don't matter. Well, I can assure you they do. If you don't open your eyes to what's really going on around you, that's the lie that's controlling you, that controls your family, your loved ones, your children, your mom, your dad, your chauffeurs, your people that watch out for you, and the people that now it's time for you to watch out for them. You know, life reverses. And if you don't open your eyes to what's really going on around you, then you're caught in the lie. And when the bottleneck happens, which is now, it could last for 1,000 years, we don't know. I believe in my heart the second coming of a Christ has happened, and that's why they started keeping track of time on that day. They celebrated the death of this person on that day. And at that point, Satan, Nosferatu, Baphomet, El, Baal, the demons were awakened and let loose. Look around you, people. Do you see Christ? Do you see a godlike neighbor? Or do you see Satan and evil at its purest? Are there good people salt and peppered here and there? Yes, of course. Of course they are. But you've got to remember, those people were taught to turn the cheek. Turn the cheek. Turn the cheek. Like, let me ask you something. If there's 10 good people and 10 bad people, and 10 bad people hit 10 good people, and they turn their cheek, aka not fight, not protect themselves, not protect their loved ones, who do you think's going to end up in control? Look around, and you'll see who's in control. It ain't you. It's a big club, and you ain't in it. Next clip.
The Earth is spinning faster than ever. People are waking up exhausted, clocks are glitching, and no one's talking about it. But what if this isn't natural? What if someone's speeding up time? In 2022, Earth had its shortest day ever, July 26th. Milliseconds were shaved off. Scientists called it a normal fluctuation, but it kept happening. TikTok and Reddit blew up. People said days felt off. Sleep cycles were wrecked. Clocks were losing time, servers went out of sync, and here's where it gets weird. Governments quietly stopped adding leap seconds. Big tech said leap seconds were too risky. Too risky. For who? Some think this is a planned time distortion, a digital reset on syncing our lives to machine time. Shorter days mean more scrolling, more content, less awareness. Others say it's even deeper, that messing with Earth's spin desyncs us from nature, the moon, the seasons, our bodies, and once that happens, we lose track of real time and who's controlling it. So ask yourself, is time just drifting, or are we being pushed into the next phase? The Earth is spinning faster than ever.
Yeah, I think we all know the answer to that. It's time's definitely speeding up. You know, if you're in an airplane and you sync a clock or a watch with someone's in an airplane, you're on the ground, or someone that goes to the moon, you know, so forth, those clocks get off. Now, I don't know if it could have something to do with gravity, momentum, centrifugal force, messing with the gears, or the actual way that the clock keeps time. And you can say, well, they do it digitally, but I'm saying everything can be controlled by gravity, centrifugal force, all these different things. So time is something that, you know, it's different. You know, it's different. If you've ever had a good time, if you've ever been having a good time, like a party, or you're hanging out with your lover, and time just seems to fly by. It just seems to be so much faster than what goes on when you're in pain, or you're hurting, or just life is hard to deal with at the moment. Those times seem to last forever, you know. Next clip.
Let's talk about these rumors of McDonald's serving us human meat. So supposedly the first time human meat was found in McDonald's was in 2015. It's said that there was rumors of human meat being processed in McDonald's meat factories. And when inspectors went to investigate these claims, they found human and horse meat in a McDonald's meat factory. The story goes that human meat was found in 90% of the locations, and horse meat was found in 65%. I couldn't find the audio clip, but here's what an FBI agent had to say about this.
FBI agent Lloyd Harrison told reporters, "The worst part is that it's not only human meat, it's child meat. The body parts were found across the U.S. factories and were deemed too small to be adult body part."
Now, in those articles from 2015, it was said that these claims are currently being investigated, and no real answers ever came. Actually, from what I found, McDonald's just said, "Oh no, we didn't do that." Check out part 2.
Yeah, I was just saying the same thing. I'm telling you guys, look into it. Look into it. It's definitely look, if it's just 1%, like think about it, if it's just 1% of what you're eating is human meat, and it's more than that. Look at your dog food. Number 1 ingredient, number 2 ingredient, animal meal. Like if they could put it in that and no one tripped. Like dogs are eating dogs, cats are eating cats, humans are eating, well, you know. Next clip.
Ultimate conspiracy theory according to Joe Rogan.
If you're a conspiracy theorist, this is the real conspiracy. The conspiracy is have as many social problems as possible that people get distracted by, that people concentrate on. Whether it's a pandemic, whether it's masks, vaccines, pride, trans movement, sponsored drag shows for kids if you want people to get mad and want people to get distracted.
Right.
Sponsor
that. Focus on that.
Get people to think that it's a good idea to do that and watch the outrage. You know, get people to think that the oceans are going to be boiling in 5 years. You know,
right?
Get people to think that if we don't change it, like that was one of the things Greta Thunberg said 5 years ago. We'll all be dead. Okay, 5 years. Well, it's 5 years later, and we're not all dead. So you're definitely wrong, and you're 16. So why are they flying you out to Ukraine? Like, what's going on? Yeah. So there's so many of these fucking social distractions that are in our face all day long about everything. And I feel like sometimes that's what I feel like about Supreme Court rulings. We're going to take away Roe v. Wade. And everybody's like, what the fuck? What?
Yeah.
What? And that's another one.
Yeah.
And then that one becomes a thing that people identify as the most important problem that they have to solve. And while all this is going on, money's getting moved around, decisions are getting made.
Yeah.
And it's a brilliant cover for wild shit.
Yeah, because all you have to do ever really is follow the money on anything.
Yeah.
And you see what's actually happening, and everything else is a distraction to that.
Absolutely, I believe that 100%. I had that clip on my first show, so check it out. All right, Deep Conspiracies, right here.
Fear you can't explain, or felt instantly drawn to a place you've never visited. You might be experiencing genetic memory, the controversial theory that your DNA doesn't just determine your eye color, but also carries the experiences, traumas, and knowledge of your ancestors. Scientists at Emory University discovered mice could inherit fear of specific smells their parents were conditioned to fear, despite never experiencing those smells themselves. Human studies suggest descendants of Holocaust survivors show altered stress hormone profiles similar to their traumatized grandparents, despite being raised in completely different environments. Some researchers believe this explains phobias with no apparent cause, natural talents that emerge without training, and even deja vu sensations when visiting ancestral homelands. The concept extends beyond science into spirituality, with some cultures long believing we carry ancestral wisdom in our blood, accessible through meditation or dreams. Critics claim it's merely psychological suggestion, yet emerging epigenetic research shows environmental factors can indeed modify how genes express themselves across generations. Are your unexplained feelings actually echoes from your ancestors' lives? Is there wisdom already inside you, waiting to be accessed? Thanks for watching. Follow to explore more hidden secrets of human existence.
Remember to like, share, and subscribe my channel, you guys. Looking to get out there. Anybody that's subscribed that actually watches these videos, do me a favor. Put a like down in the comments. I got something special for you because I'm just starting out and I'm looking to get the message out. A lot of people don't pay attention to this. I do. I want to know what's going on behind my back, don't you? Next clip.
Poisonous alcohol. In January 1920, the 18th Amendment to the U.S. Constitution was successfully ratified, triggering a 13-year period known as Prohibition, during which the production, sale, and transportation of alcohol was made illegal. During this period, the government enforced some pretty strict measures to prevent bootlegging of alcohol, which made the alcohol black market flourish like crazy. It was pretty much a playground for the mafia in which the government would raid one bar and another one would crop up in just a few days' time. While all of this was happening, there were some pretty messed up rumors floating around that the US government was taking extreme measures to make sure people weren't consuming alcohol. These included allegations that the government was intentionally poisoning alcohol to make people who consumed it sick. For a while, this remained something of a conspiracy theory, but things took a turn pretty quickly on New Year's Day 1927 when 41 people died from alcohol poisoning at New York's Bellevue Hospital. Disturbingly, the autopsies revealed that a lot of the victims had been drinking industrial methanol, otherwise known as wood alcohol, which can be fatal even at low doses. It turns out that the government had forced companies to denature industrial alcohol to make it undrinkable since 1906, which was far before Prohibition. But when the crackdown on alcohol started, the government ordered these companies to add quinine, methyl alcohol, and other toxic chemicals to discourage people from drinking it. Their reasoning was that if black market dealers knew their alcohol had been poisoned, they wouldn't dare distribute it knowing how dangerous it would be for their customers to consume. I guess they forgot to factor in that the demand for alcohol at the time was absolutely insane, and that black market dealers didn't care who lived or died from consuming their product. It wasn't until December 1933, 6 years after the Bellevue incident, that the federal government finally toned down their abstinence from alcohol policies. But by then, thousands of Americans had already been poisoned with contaminated alcohol. Poisonous alcohol.
That's insane.
Okay, what am I looking at?
All right. So someone posed a really good question. A113. Let's talk about it. So A113 shows up in a lot of cartoons, a lot of films, all that kind of stuff. Check this out. Now, the official narrative is that it's a room at the California Institute of Arts where a lot of animators took a class. That's the official story. I find it really interesting because symbolism is very important in the entertainment industry. What do you guys think? Do you believe the official narrative, or do you think there's something more to it? So someone posed a really good question.
I definitely think there's something to it. Numbers are very important. Anybody who follows numerics or looks into certain numbers, you look at your phone, a lot of people celebrate 1111, Rose, you know. A lot of people celebrate 333. A lot of people celebrate 777. 888's a good one. Hard to see on a clock. Nonetheless, people look for it. And here's the next clip coming at you live. 666 right here, right now. Tune in, turn on, and drop out.
Exploring deep-sea conspiracies reveals a fascinating intersection of mystery, science, and speculation. The ocean's depths, largely uncharted and unexplored, serve as a fertile ground for conspiracy theories. These range from the existence of undiscovered creatures to hidden underwater civilizations and secret government projects. Here's a concise dive into some of the most intriguing deep-sea conspiracies. One of the most enduring deep-sea conspiracies is the existence of giant sea monsters, often inspired by sightings of colossal squids or mysterious creatures glimpsed from submarines. The Kraken, a legendary sea monster said to dwell off the coasts of Norway and Greenland, is a prime example. Modern reports of massive, unidentified marine animals keep this myth alive, suggesting that the ocean's depths harbor creatures beyond our understanding. Another captivating theory is the existence of underwater UFOs, or USOs, unidentified submerged objects. Some believe these advanced crafts are hidden in deep ocean trenches, using the sea as a base to remain undetected. Numerous sightings and sonar contacts with unexplained underwater objects have fueled speculation about alien technology and secretive underwater bases. The Bermuda Triangle, a region in the North Atlantic Ocean, is infamous for the mysterious disappearances of ships and aircraft. While scientific explanations, such as natural gas hydrates and magnetic anomalies exist, conspiracy theorists propose more exotic causes, including underwater alien bases and portals to other dimensions. The lost city of Atlantis, a mythical civilization described by Plato, is another enduring deep-sea conspiracy, believed to have sunk into the ocean. Various locations, from the Mediterranean to the Caribbean, have been proposed as its possible site. Enthusiasts argue that advanced ancient technology and knowledge was submerged with Atlantis, potentially still hidden beneath the waves. Additionally, secret military operations are a cornerstone of deep-sea conspiracies. The ocean's vast, unmonitored expanses make it an ideal setting for covert projects. Allegations include underwater bases, experimental submarines, and hidden nuclear facilities. The US Navy's Arctic is often cited as a modern-day Area 51, shrouded in secrecy and linked to numerous unexplained phenomena. Lastly, environmental conspiracies suggest that governments and corporations are hiding the true extent of ocean pollution and its impact on marine life. Whistleblowers and leaked documents occasionally surface, hinting at suppressed data regarding the decline of ocean ecosystems and the presence of harmful substances. While many of these theories stretch the bounds of credibility, they underscore the deep ocean's allure as one of the last great unknowns on Earth. The ocean's depths, largely unexplored, continue to captivate the human imagination, serving as a canvas for both scientific inquiry and speculative fantasy. Exploring deep-sea
Yeah, I know there's definitely something going on with the seas. Anybody who's ever sat on the beach or maybe swam just out past the breakers and watched the world die and You realize how small you really are. Next clip, and coffee time.
People are seriously believing these conspiracy theories in 2025, and number 3 is terrifying. Number 1, digital currency control. By 2026, physical money could vanish. Some claim it's a plan for total financial surveillance and control. Number 2, weather manipulation. People say secret satellites can control the weather, triggering floods, droughts, or natural disasters. Number 3, quantum timeline shifts. Millions remember things that never happened. Some believe we've jumped timelines and the universe is glitching. Number 4, underground cities. Rumors say massive tunnels connect cities underground, built for elites to escape when things go bad. Number 5, birds aren't real. They say birds are actually government drones spying on us 24/7, and they recharge by perching on power lines. Which one do you think might be real? Or did we miss the craziest one? Drop your theory in the comments. I'm reading every single...
I don't know. I got to get away from these AI cartoon type things. I like the real people talking about real things.
What you missed, Dior bags exposed on January 21st, 2025.
A story that kind of disappeared very suddenly. Do you have any idea whatever happened to the drones?
What happened to drones?
Well, you had said that you thought the government knew what was happening with these drones over New Jersey. There were some by Bedminster.
I don't know, they were over Bedminster a lot.
What happened?
I'm going to give you a report on drones about one day into the administration, because I think it's ridiculous that they're not telling you about what's going on with the drones. And it's not only with me. Glenn was telling me today that in Virginia they have drones all over the place doing. Nobody's reporting it. I don't know why they're not. You want to say something about
Just one quick comment, which is we are home to the largest naval base in the world at Quantico, and we house a lot of SEAL teams and have a huge national security infrastructure. And now for 2 years running, we have had drone incursion over secure airspace, and we still don't know why. And I think that's absolutely unacceptable. And I think President Trump and the new leadership coming in, I think, will work diligently to understand who's behind this and what we do in order to stop the digital surveillance of all of our secure infrastructure.
Is it dangerous?
Well, I can tell you this. While we were dealing with a terrorist attack in New Orleans, we had drones being thrown over our nuclear reactors in Louisiana. And we brought that attention to the FAA. We've been asking the FAA to give these states the ability to mitigate these drones. And it's sitting on some bureaucrats' desks. That's real. Nobody knows. They don't want to talk about it. Go ahead, Governor.
I was just going to say we have drones in Wyoming flying over our infrastructure as well. And it's incredibly frustrating that we not only have no way of knowing what it is, but nobody knows how to deal with it.
They don't want to talk about it, and nobody knows why. They don't want to talk about it. That could be us sending drones. I hope that's...
What you missed, Dior bag.
Oh, man, some of these things drive me crazy, dude, but I have to cover them. I don't have a choice. I have a choice!
This freaked me the fuck out.
This fact. Okay, can I share this? I don't want to be blamed.
I doubt I could stop you.
I don't want to be blamed if you cannot get to sleep tonight.
No, I'll be okay.
Okay, all right. So, this dark energy in the future will render the universe so large, having accelerated so significantly that all the galaxies of the night sky will have accelerated beyond our horizon.
What?
And all the galaxies are the source of our knowledge of cosmology, of the Big Bang. Everything we know about the history of the universe comes to us from these galaxies. If they accelerate beyond our horizon, the next generation of cosmic explorers will only have the stars of the Milky Way to think about. And there would have been an entire chapter of the universe ripped from their view. And they will be trying to contemplate an understanding of the universe without a significant part of what its past was. And so I lose sleep wondering, today, was there some previous chapter ripped from the universe itself? And here we are. And here we are, touching the elephant, not knowing that, in fact, there's an elephant standing there. Or maybe there's the shadow of the elephant and the elephant has been moved. We don't know what we don't know. And this leaves me awake at night. I lose sleep over that.
This freaked me.
Man, they talk about some crazy stuff, man. I gotta keep going with the next clip, next flick, next. That was me.
July 8, 1979, all the fathers of Nobel Prize winners were rounded up by United Nations military units, all right? And actually forced at gunpoint.
Mel Gibson, y'all, Mel Gibson.
In little plastic jars, which are now stored below Rockefeller Center underneath the ice skating rink. We want to be there for the thaw. I mean, it's disgusting. You know what they put in the water, don't you? Fluoride. Yeah, fluoride. On the pretext that it strengthens your teeth. That's ridiculous. You know what this stuff does to you? It actually weakens your will. Takes away the capacity for free and creative thought and makes you a slave to the state. So you ever wonder about all these militia groups, survivalist type groups from the right-wing side? They say that they're defending the country from the UN troops. These guys are yelling so loud. My theory is, and this is a conspiracy, pal, that they are the UN troops and that they're in place. The infrastructure's ready. It's in the fait accompli. When the time comes, they'll just take over. We'll all be toast. Oswald, yeah, Oswald. That's what I said, Oswald. He said, I'm just a patsy, and that means that he didn't do it, right? I mean, George Bush knew what he was saying when he said New World Order. Remember those three little words, New World Order? Well, he was a 33rd degree Mason, you know, and as ex-director of the CIA. He knew they're saying that was the chip for identification so they can track down an animal anywhere he's at. You'll insert it under the dog's skin, and it's kind of like an identification thing. I mean, it's only a small, logical step until they start putting it in us and our children. And then, before we know it, my God, they'll probably come with a pretext. Oh, sure, yeah. Hey, is that one of those new hundreds? You know, where they changed the picture of Ben Franklin? Look at him. Yeah. He looks like the love child of Fred Mertz and Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, get rid of him as soon as you can, lady. Look it up to the light. You see the metal strip in it? That's a tracking device. If you got any more of those, get rid of them. Exchange them for goods or something. They'll follow you. They know where every one of those hundreds is going.
Yeah, so that was a Mel Gibson movie from the 90s, and you've got to think about what you do know that he said this true, you know, about Oswald saying he's a patsy, just anything. Could have been several. There was about 16 there, so any one of those that you recognize to be the truth, that you know, you've heard it before, supposedly. Well, think about the things that you didn't know that was in that clip, whether they were the truth or not. The rest of it was probably that too. Next clip. Woo!